Hello, check, check, checkaroo, etc. Hello, check, check. Hello, everybody. If anyone's watching it, yeah, it looks like some of you are. Thanks for coming to the spontaneous Sunday stream. Gonna chat a bit about new streaming idea I want to try in a bit. I'm just finishing up the usual link sharing because even though it's a casual, quick, or I just decide to stream and then go live shortly after, I've still got to share that link around, you know? How's everyone else's Sunday going? Okay, just gotta check the Discord now, or the Discords, I should say. Alright. Move my keyboard out of the way. There we go. Hello everybody. Today's, if you read the description or a post or something. Oh, gotta minimize that tab. Hello Country Fried Minis, thank you for coming. Glad you're having a good afternoon. Let's put this, slide this over. I like it here. Okay, well, we need to go get some water. Should have done that before I went live. Hello, Iron Elemental. Welcome. Thank you for coming. So, I didn't feel like painting the eyeballs of my current work in progress minis this afternoon. Yes, exactly. It's a very based stream, so... But I've finished assembling the last of my 100 Kingdoms army recently, and I like collated the amount of them that hadn't had the sand glued to their bases yet. And it was like a decently manageable pile, so I figured or not a quick thing, just a thing we could do for like a relaxing stream this Sunday is base all of those minis. I'll probably start with the minis first, because doing these stands is these are a little annoying to base, because like the white glue and the sand like can just chip off of these parts really easily. I do the main gluing of the base, and then I usually wait a day, and then I like cover it all with like more thinned glue to help secure it in, and then usually with like a coat of primer and a coat of paint on top of that, it's pretty good. But I've had, especially with these miniature stands, I've had multiple cases where like the glue and the sand just like snaps off of these little sections here and like pulls a big chunk with it, which is like, it's fixable. It's just annoying. And for these scenic bases for the warlords, I might add some cork to these. I'm not sure yet. I'll probably leave these for last. We'll see. I'll do the infantry and cavalry first, because that's like more more interesting. Okay. well, I guess I'll start arranging them onto the workspace here. Let's see, where do we want everything? Put the sand over there. This is some fancy artist quality glue my grandpa gave me because he gives me random artist supplies all the time. And so then I think it's called Gamblin', because that's the label he put on here. This was like wasn't originally used for this bottle, but this is where I put down the watered down solution to do with the bases later, but that'll probably happen off camera some other time. So what do we got that still needs basing? We got a Household Knight standard bearer, big fancy flag. This flag, he's tilting back a bit. I wanted him to look a little different than the other because I have another unit of Household Knights, and that one, the standard, is more straight up. We just got a regular Household Knight. And one more Household Knight. Here, let's put these off to the side here because I'll need that working space. Oh, thank you for the, what was that, €10 super chat, Iron Elemental. Just dropping some motivation to power through this painfully tedious task. Yes, it is painfully tedious. That's why I'm like, I need to just, it's a good excuse to do a longer live stream just to like force myself to get through it all. And like, this is just a chunk of the army. I've done the rest of the basing for the army in chunks before because doing it all at once is rough. But yeah, thanks again for the super chat. Glad you think the model's outrageous. So here we have the mounted squires. This one has a swappable rider, so he's just not on here right now. Standard bear. I don't know if you know Country Fried Minis, but the Conquest Mini scale is 38mm. So they're a bit chunkier than your typical Warhammer fare. Alright, so that's a bunch of cavalry we got, and then we got a bunch of, okay, there's a few different things in here. I'll bring it out. Okay, we got one big chunk of Steel Legion. They're like the heavy infantry unit in my army. I've got 2 blocks of them. They're like great sword-wielding knight-type characters. They're pretty cool looking. I've painted a lot of them already, so, you know, got even more. Not in a particular rush to paint them, but it'd be nice to just get the entire army past the, like, fully based stage. Okay, and then the last 2 we got here, these are a bit more exciting. This is, I have done, I guess the patrons, I think I might have shown a picture of this. I've done yet another kit bash. This is going to be a second seasoned veteran officer for my men-at-arms. Because I can field 2 units of men-at-arms, so I've got the extra body for a kit bash, so I was like, what the heck, let's just make another seasoned veteran in case I want to field that in an army list. And this was a present I gave to myself for organizing the Conquest event. This is like a Conquest preview mini that came in a organized play kit. He's for a mercenary faction that's unreleased. It's just like kind of a prototype model that they sell in the promotional kits for the Vanguards can get for tournaments and stuff. So this came in a set with a Sorcerer Kings mini and a Hell, H-E-L, just one L, that was just like another future faction that isn't released. But this is like, you know, a human warrior model, so I'm using him as a retinue for some of my warlords, because, you know, I'd say he'll fit, if I paint him in the same colors as the rest of my 100 Kingdoms, he'll fit in nicely. Yeah, it was tempting. It was hard to pick this one out of the bunch because the Sorcerer Kings mini, and it was very good as well. Has a bit of a JoJo reference. Yeah, the big flag holding guy is very incredible. Sorry, Robert, this is not a WAP stream because I gotta just glue sand to these bases. But I got, like, behind me, I've got the WAP from last night, which still is painting it because I'm still painting those units, so I guess I might as well say now, it's not really an announcement. I'm just like gonna try and stream every day, just a little bit for this week. Or no, I'll try and stream every day starting Tuesday, because I know I can't stream tomorrow, but I think I want to just do more streams and just take a more casual approach of it in terms of like not scheduling them as far in advance. Obviously, I'll schedule them as far in advance as I reasonably can. But like there might be days like today where I'm not sure what I want to stream, and then I'm like, okay, I want to stream basing. I'm just looking at this guy's sword. This guy's sword definitely snapped and I glued it together, and there's a bit of a ridge. But that's something to be fixed on another day. Yeah, it's a sticky stream instead, because with glue and stuff. A sticky Sunday stream. What was I saying? So yeah, I'm gonna try starting Tuesday, I'm gonna just try and stream every day, and we'll see. I'm just gonna try and stream as often as I can, just because I got lots of stuff to work on, and not a lot of it needs to be like filmed meticulously for a video yet. So I'm sure like once I do like 3 or 4 days, I'll like take a couple days and get back to it, and maybe by the time February rolls around, I'll have some sort of soft schedule that I'll try and be consistent with. I can kind of stream every day and also get a day off if I like do what I did on Friday and stream like Friday night and then Saturday morning, and now I'm not streaming again until now, which is like Sunday afternoon. But say it was Sunday evening, like if I do the back-to-back AM PM streams, then there's still like a large break in between streams, and I still do it daily. But that's just some rambling thoughts I've been had. I'll get to this basing now. I just need to fill this with water. Yes, I'm taking inspiration from Country Fried Minis. If anyone watching this stream now hasn't subscribed to Country Fried Minis, you're missing out, and you should go do that. Okay, I'm going to fill this with water. I'll be right back. Okay. Yes, not needing to film a thing is very liberating indeed. Okay, let's see. Is our exposure looking all right? Let's make it a bit brighter. So yeah, not much to explain for technique in this. I suppose I gotta try extra hard to think of interesting things to talk about, because I don't have any music running in the background right now. That's something I gotta figure out, hopefully by February. It's also somewhat of an experiment. I've just been trying. Let's see, we probably need some sort of cloth. The experiment was just seeing how many people would notice or say anything if the music stopped, but I've kind of given away or spoiled the experiment now. Toothpick, that's what I was grabbing. I like to have a toothpick. Let's grab a bigger one actually. Toothpick for taking the sand off of the parts of the model we don't want it, which tends to happen. And we're just like thinning the glue with the brush as we go, just to extend it a little bit, but we don't, for the first initial gluing we're doing here, we don't want to do too much thinning, because we do want the materials to be stuck on there pretty good, you know? And also if it's thinned too much, you can see how it kind of pulls back from the edge of the base. So this almost looks a bit thinned a bit too much, but should be fine. Is anyone else working on Any hobby projects this fine Sunday? It's afternoon where I am, but I imagine for some of you it might be the morning or evening. Nothing beats a big angry webcam gal with a massive axe at midnight. Is that the that pinup mini that Country Fried Minis is painting you're talking about? I can raise my camera a little bit. Can see the War Machine logo and the Magic the Gathering logo. Not sponsored. Or hashtag not sponsored. There's a joke there somewhere. The lack of music just boosts the hobby noises. Yeah, good point. My mic setup's a little janky, but I think it picks up a decent amount of hobby noises. I should rearrange the typical paint setup I'm used to have the water on the other side in the hopes that the mic could potentially pick up more swishy swish water noises. You know, that's the technical term for them anyways. Oh yeah, so this is what I'm using the toothpick for. You can see how the sand is like getting up on his ankle a bit there. Yeah, I'm thinking like my stream schedule won't be consistent like in the sense of doing it like week after week, because there's probably, when I get to the point of getting enough footage to edit an actual YouTube video, I'd probably like not stream for a week. But like for the time being, a lot of the model work I have to do is not like it doesn't involve a lot of like meticulous video documentation. It's more just like I gotta paint a lot of minis, so it's more suited for like streaming, it seems, or it feels like it's more suited for streaming, because like it's a lot of the same repetitive painting, and so like when things do switch up, I can just like quickly capture some of it and then still have a lot to stream. And I feel like there's another point I was going to make with that. And in general, the video format's going to be changing up a little bit for 2024. And it's going to be a slow start, but I'm hoping I can still, you know, every YouTuber has this unending urge inside them where like, it's been X days since you uploaded to youtube.com. It's like, even if you're a retired YouTuber or whatever, the drive never goes away. You're always like, I could make a video out of this. Even though a lot of the time it ends up in like, no, I just need to enjoy this without the video pressure. When you're painting a whole army of miniatures, you can kind of delegate miniatures for just painting offline, miniatures for streaming, and miniatures for filming B-roll. What do we think is in this box that this guy's standing on? Camera was just lagging a bit there. The burps are too legendary to spoil with the background music. Prime and paint the sand. Yeah, all of these, I always do the sanding, like, or I always do the gluing of the sand on before priming, definitely. It's like, I kind of explained at the very beginning of the stream. Like I do this initial step of gluing the sand on, and then about a day later when the glue is like fully dry, I put on another layer of more watered down glue to really seal it in the dirt in there. And then there'll be a layer of primer on top of that, and then like multiple layers of paint for the actual painting of the base. So that tends to be like I tend to need a lot of steps like that in order to be able to not have the sand like rip off in big chunks. Yeah, that's the truth, Country Fried Minis. I mean, that's just if the audience keeps distracting and derailing, I mean, I'll just take that as a challenge of like I can just follow the derailment and talk about whatever, but can I do it while just continuing to do all this tedious basing? Probably. Usually I don't like, or usually when I stop getting talkative, that's when I have to like concentrate and paint a fine line or something. The finest of edges. There'll be more, there'll definitely be some Gunpla painting projects live streamed this year. And hopefully in videos too. I have to have, I mean, I don't know exactly how many minis yet, but I definitely need to have my Spires army finished and at least a good chunk of my 100 Kingdoms army finished by like the beginning of June. So I got a pretty big lead time, but if I let myself lax now, it's only gonna make it harder later. So after this stream, I got a lot of notes to sort through after this stream from various things, but I should probably add that to the list of like figure out exactly how much I want to get painted by the beginning of June for the deadline. And then just stick to that, and like even if I get more minis for the armies, I won't like assemble them until after. That's the logic, or that's the like me trying to be reasonable and put this on the internet now. Maybe I'll stay accountable to it. Who knows though? With me, you never know. Is anyone in the chat a fan of Twin Peaks, perchance? Paint in bags. Oh yeah, Iron Elemental. I saw that secret unlisted YouTube video of your goofs and gags. That was pretty good. The bag paint. That's a funny gag. And I don't know how I must have dodged a bullet somewhere in my life, but I never like picked up a habit for licking brushes. I totally get the like brush licker thing and like the meme and like the reason why you lick brushes to like get the tip better and stuff, but I just never developed the habit of brush licking. My worst painting habit for a while was just like I would hunch over the desk and paint, like just really hunched over and like not in a good way for my back, and it took me a while to like get my body used to painting with my elbows propped up on the desk. I know some people don't like painting that way. It kind of depends. Some people are more comfortable leaning back. Oh, what's your incredible life hack? Shrimp pose. Oh yeah, that's a shrimp pose is a good way to describe it, actually. Goblin mode, perhaps. When brushing your teeth, you can let them sit where they are instead of pulling them out and clean one by one. You can just brush them in a go. I'm trying to make sense of your life hack with the teeth brushing. It doesn't quite make sense in my head. If you brush your teeth, when brushing your teeth, you can't let them sit where they are. I used a sort of hack, not really though, on my Iron-Blooded Orphans diorama, where it was originally not really going to be weathered that much, but then I messed up in my application of putting the black wash on, and I was like, just kidding, this is a weathered build now. And I just went to town weathering it, and I think it worked out for the better. So I guess I'm lucky. I've been lucky like that with a lot of projects. Do I ever deal with overheating issues? And you're thinking of upgrading to a mirrorless? If you're talking about for your overhead camera? Yeah, I mean, I'm using a Fujifilm X-T4. That's the main camera. Just it's going through a capture card into the computer. And I've never gotten overheating warning. Definitely there's been times where I've streamed for a while and the camera is decently warm afterwards. And I don't think I've ever streamed for longer than 4 hours. I don't know what my longest is. It's probably like 3 hours, 35 minutes or something. And I never got an overheat issue. I imagine if I like really, really pushed the streaming, I might be more wary to check. But I haven't really had any. Link in the description? What do you mean, Robert? Mirrorless, is that the fabled diesel Arcamera? No. It's a mirrorless SLR, silly. I'm a camera nerd. I'm less of a camera nerd these days, but I was going hard on the, like, reading reviews of cameras and lenses all the time for a number of years. And my job used to be a photographer, so... My favorite kind of photography was going out hiking and getting landscape shots at the sunset. Not a super profitable way to be a photographer, but it's pretty nice taking landscape shots. That wasn't my main way of making a living as a photographer. That was portraits. Oh, I see what you mean, Robert. Yeah, I don't have I used to have affiliate links for Amazon and like a copy paste that I would put in my descriptions, but I don't know. I never nothing ever came of it, and eventually I was like, I don't know if I'd rather just not promote Amazon. They don't need the promotion. And it was like I think I got annoyed a couple of times trying to like update links that weren't working, and it just became like it made more sense to just rather remove it than keep like fussing over it. So but I have like links that I've gotten established like more directly, like with Parabellum or Hobby Link Japan. Those are in there because they're more relevant rather than like if I was a bit like the big YouTubers like Miniac or Squidmar, it makes sense for them to like put in the effort to have the links for all their gear in there with Amazon affiliate links, because they got a lot more people clicking on their links, so they might generate some actual like income worth noting from those. But you know, I mean, I don't know if they personally have assistants, but in theory they can like hire assistants to help them deal with all the like back-end metadata admin stuff that takes away time from making actual videos. Canon M50 Mark II, yeah, that's I've heard that one recommended a lot. I used to use Canon cameras. Canon, they're kind of like, one of the most popular camera brands out there and like trusted for a reason. And their mirrorless, what's good about their mirrorless system is like, when you're working within a camera brand that's really popular, is there's more stuff on the used market that'll be compatible with your camera. And yeah, I have my camera mounted on like one of those Rode mic arms. And if it was like a beefier SLR, like more pro body camera, it might be a bit too heavy for the arm. So when you're using a mirrorless, if you get like a light one, that's an advantage. So the M50 it's not like, nowadays there's a lot of mirrorless cameras that are like big and chunky pro style cameras, but the M50 has like a smaller body that would be a lot easier to mount on an overhead arm if that's what you're thinking of doing. But it's like, also it's Canon tends to have like good deal value bundles a lot of the time. It's really easy for me to just like go to over analyzing on the camera gear, and just like I am definitely a victim of my own gear acquisition syndrome, as I'm sure a lot of you can relate. I get it from my grandpa. He's been collecting camera gear for like 40 years. Not just camera gear, printers and just art stuff. He's a cool grandpa. Yeah, the camera, it's like so many hobbies at the end of the day. It's like, oh yeah, all the good hobbies are expensive. It's like 3D printing, photography, PC streaming stuff, and then like all the miniature painting accessories and gaming accessories. No hobby is safe from the gear acquisition syndrome bloat. You're very strong with the puns tonight, Iron Elemental. I don't know if I've been streaming for... maybe I have been streaming for a good while, but I don't know if I've been doing... doing it well. Any tricks that I've learned? Tricks. That's a good one. I don't really know if I have an answer with that. I tend to keep my streams pretty simple. I think you're better off getting tips from Country Fried Minis. That guy knows how to stream. I'd say the camera is useful for other hobby aspects besides streaming, definitely. Hello Cyber Scorpio, by the way. And yes, that is the case for all the hobbies. Cyber Scorpio knows what's up. Okay, only 2 infantry boys left. Damn, you got 4 3D printers on your desk? Are those all FDM or like a mix of FDM and resin? Yeah, I have to I made an active choice a while ago to just like decide not to get into 3D printing. Because I'm like, I got a very limited hobby budget, and 3D printing looks very cool and amazing, and I would definitely fall too deep into that rabbit hole. I'm like, I gotta focus on the stuff I already have. I got limited bandwidth, but I'm very happy to be alive for this mini 3D printing renaissance. I guess not just minis, just all kinds of models. It's model mayhem, you could say. When you do get a commission for something you 3D print, is the margin on your resin like pretty good? I mean the cost ratio or whatever. It's like the actual resin itself you use to print it isn't that pricey. It's more like the time and knowledge. You don't have to reveal that information if you don't want to, though. Tomorrow I got a out-of-town friend visiting, and we get to do... I think I talked about this in the last stream, too. It's like I'm just very excited for it, because tomorrow I get to do my, I think it's pretty much annual at this point, rewatch of the animated film Red Line. Quite possibly my favorite animated film ever. Quite possibly the most animated film of all time. Yeah, you get yourself out of one rabbit hole and then dive right into the next one. That's right. Yeah, it's hard not to see an edgy model and want to like edge all over it, you know? Okay, the infantry is done. Just gonna make myself a bit more space on the desk and transfer them to the tray. And then we'll get them horsies based. I'm not looking forward to doing the stands, but I'm looking forward to it being done. After this 100 Kingdom is based, I don't think the next stream isn't also going to be basing, but sometime soon I'll also need to get the rest of the basing done for the Spires army. But that one is not as bad. That one is only 4 stands of bound clones and 3 stands of Strix, so that'll be like the last little hurrah of the basing. Although I know I'll be getting, at some point this year, I'll need to buy at least, to get the more optimized list, I need to buy one more box of good old forest-grown drones. For those of you who don't play Conquest, forest-grown drones are just like the good old reliable, like dirt cheap chaff spear unit. That you just say like, go forward and die. So naturally I need another box of those to beef out the ranks. I'll need a box of the 100 Kingdoms equivalent of that called the Militia at some point, but that'll be a far down the road purchase because I need to first collect more fancy knights. I need to collect a unit of Crimson Tower, which are like pretty threatening looking, like fully armored knights, but then I also need to get a unit of Order the Ashen Dawn, which are like knights that are so heavily armored they're just like tanks on legs. Yeah, I can see around the actual edge of the base it's a little like subpar in terms of the glue coverage. Maybe I need feel like I should add just a bit more. Just kind of annoying, but so that's a case of the glue being too watered, I believe. Too runny, you could say. And it's not ideal to like have to put more glue on top of the sand, just because you can kind of tell it was sand put on top of sand. I think it's worth it to have it go right up to the proper edge. And the white rocks on this base, if anyone's wondering, that's from the IKEA decorative rock set that I won't stop bringing up, called the Dift. Used them all over my Conquest army. They've been great. Rabbit holes, you mean like how you climbed out of the Games Workshop hole for being expensive and then ended with 5 perfect grade Gundams in 1 year? 5 perfect grade Gundams, nice. I haven't even done a perfect grade yet. One day I'll do one. I'm kind of waiting for a perfect grade Zaku, a new one to come out, like a perfect grade Unleashed Zaku would be amazing, because the RX-78-2 is a classic iconic Gundam, but I'm more of a Zaku person myself, and there's far too many RX-78 kits compared to Zaku kits. Warframe or your motorcycle. Yep, those are, I can imagine those being pretty big rabbit holes to fall into. Oh yeah, Warframe is, would you say that's an MMO, or is it like a live service, like multiplayer arena game or something? Oh yeah, and back to, I almost forgot, in speaking of IKEA products, I've got a fun stream that'll probably be coming up soon involving some different ones, but I need to do some prep work on that before I'm ready to show it on a stream, but it'll be a fun little side project. Yeah, with these larger bases, I have to work a bit faster, just like get the full coverage with the glue all over as fast as I can, because it's going on pretty thin, so it can dry pretty fast. I know it's like not super easy to show you what I'm doing a lot of the time with the angles here. Yeah, because I need to go back to the edges I did at the beginning, because they had already dried up a bit. Yeah, looks like we'll have to add more to the edges on this one too. But that's fine. It's not that noticeable on the other pony, or the mounted squire. Alright, just one more mounted squire left to do. Yeah, oh my god, a perfect grade Unleashed Zaku would be so good. Yeah, the perfect grade Unleashed RX-78 is probably one of the best RX-78s you could possibly do. Or you could say the best gunplay you could possibly do. Fast-paced third-person looter-shooter MMO with space ninjas. Excellent description there, thank you. The only game I've been playing is Baldur's Gate 3. I made it, I played like the first main fight of Act 2, and then I uninstalled because I'm like, well, I need to get more work done, and clearly I can't have this installed on the computer if I want that to happen right now. Because in case you haven't heard, it's a pretty good game. Especially if you like D&D. I do apologize for the lack of burps in this stream, though, because I do, I know it's just, it's too early in the day for me to have my conch. And, I haven't been drinking anything that's making me burp. I do have a water bottle on the desk. I should probably take a drink of that after this base. I should grab the swappable riders for that other horse just to show off what that looks like. Try to remember to do that before I switch over to the stands, which is going to be the real tedious part. Let's say you made a good call there, Iron Elemental. Only like a couple spots to touch up on this one. Alright, the mounted squires all have their sand now. Just 3 of the armored knights. So you'll get another glimpse at the magnificent standard boy. You're a Baldur's Gate 3 side character in your lady's game, nice. Druid Barbarian, classic. Oh, you broke open the chest as she was lockpicking it? That's pretty good. Cyber Scorpio, you got the Strike, the Razor. Yeah, the Strike, I think that's like the most affordable one, isn't it? I mean, if there was a perfect grade Zaku, I'd be on that, but I would also be all over a perfect grade Barbatos. I don't think that one's that likely to happen, though. Yeah, I've got Karlach in my current party, as you do, and doing the very busted Tavern Brawler Throne weapon build, because the Tavern Brawler feat is just really good in Baldur's Gate 3 and gives you a bunch of extra damage when you throw things. And then if you also become an Eldritch Knight fighter, you can bind a weapon so that if you throw it, it comes back to your hand automatically. So Karlach's just like this barbarian who does more damage tossing her weapons at you from a distance. And it's quite entertaining. And then you also become a thief rogue, so you can get the extra bonus action. And then berserker barbarian, where you can do a bonus action, do an enraged throw. And it's pretty ridiculous. The YouTube guy, I think his channel's D4 Deep Dive or something. I watched one of his Baldur's Gate 3 build videos, and that's where I got the idea from. I don't think I'm copying it exactly. Pretty close. Okay, I'm just accepting that this one's gonna take multiple passes because it's like a bigger model with more rocks I gotta work around. And another pretty strong combo of my party is the character I'm playing, the Tiefling, is a bard rogue wizard. But the rogue combined with blades bard is pretty ridiculous too. Like if you have dual hand crossbows and you like have fighter for the action surge, and then you can, as a wizard, you can cast haste on yourself. You can just become like a hand crossbow machine gun. It's pretty ridiculous as well. And you always got to have a wizard in your party so that you can have someone who can read scrolls, and so they can learn the spell to summon the special familiar shovel. So that's my number one campaign tip. Have someone who can, well, first, also you need someone who has speak with animals, so you can get Scratch. And then you also want to get Shovel, because he's summoned from a Find Familiar scroll, but it's like a specific scroll. If you get someone to learn it, then they learn the specific spell that summons Shovel. And Shovel's a fun guy. He's a Quasit. Yeah, use an improvised weapon or throw something, your strength modifier is added twice. It's ridiculous. And oh yeah, the important part about this build too is Karlach has gloves that increase thrown damage by a d4 and a ring that increases thrown damage by a d4. So yeah, it's pretty absurd, I'd say. Okay, this base is a little annoying to do, but pretty much got it now. Oh yeah, I said I was gonna take a drink of water and then I didn't. Need to fix this hoof though. Oh, there's some on the back of the leg there. Sorry, this one was a little bit of a pain. But it's done now. Okay, now I'll take a sip of water. The Assassin Rogue's pretty good too. The Assassin Rogue is pretty fun to combine with the Gloomstalker Ranger as well. Yeah, I've spent... Yeah. Baldur's Gate is like... It's like Total War Warhammer, where it's like it checks so many of my video game taste boxes that it just sucks me in way too easily. Yeah, with these knights being a lot bigger and having all the draping cloth on their horses, it looks pretty cool, but it makes them a lot more annoying to glue sand to the bases too, compared to the mounted squires and their modest saddles and bridlery, is that what it's called? Barding. Oh, this glue is not behaving well. Need some more. See how it's like pulling away from itself there? Might have to do just half of this base at a time. Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna have to do. And also with the size of the tub I got here, it makes it a little awkward with their long lances. We're managing though, we're managing. Oof. I don't know about what about this base is making it harder than the other ones, but okay, just about there. Ah, there's some patches in the middle there, I guess. Do I bother fixing them? I probably should. Alright, I think that guy's done. So we're on to the last horse now. Oops, All Bards stream series. Are you doing tabletop RPG Tuesdays this year? Like you're streaming TTRPGs? And Ethan, I am not done with the Gamma Wolves projects. Do not fret. You know me, I just have multiple projects going on. And don't think I've forgotten about the third Gamma Wolves team, who are still unnamed, but the ones with the filigreed ones. Old Bard's Party makes you think of a black metal band. Too many fiddly bits to work around? Are talking about what the tabletop RPG stream? I should probably do a better job of, like, when I'm reading someone's comment out, like, addressing who it is. Instead of just, like, talking, responding to people without addressing them directly. You know, my energy here is focused on gluing sand to a base. I do appreciate the chat being active tonight, though. It's always nice. Hopefully it's been a decently entertaining stream, even though I'm just basing stuff. Thank you, Ethan. Appreciate the support. Especially when I, you know, don't upload videos for a while. It's always nice when you keep coming back when I do put myself out there. Yeah, this part, the cloth is kind of directly touching the ground, so... Horse bits big, not fiddly. Yeah. Oh, the fiddly bits on the horse. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, definitely. These are some very blinged out horses. Not as blinged out as the Order of the Ashen Dawn, though. That's gonna be a centerpiece unit for my army. Alright, we got all them horses done. Oh, wait, it looks like there's one little patch at the front I need to grab. Got the minis done. We're just gonna move right into doing the stands. We're at just over an hour of streaming. My vibe was to hit 2 hours for the stream, but if I'm tired at 90 minutes instead, I'm content with that for today. So either way, we'll still be going for a good bit. Whoops. Knocked over a boy. Spilled some sand on the desk. Well, when I'm doing a stage like this, there's always going to be sand on the desk. It's kind of unavoidable. An Adult Swim cartoon that covers which particular concept are you referring to there? Okay, I gotta transfer some stuff around the desk here. Yeah, then after all the basing is done and secured, then say I might take a few airbrushing sessions, but if I can get the remainder of the 100 Kingdoms army primed, that'll be another like easy win in terms of like feeling like it's you get like a very big and important stage of the army project done. Where do I source my sand? I think I have it's a couple different sands that I've just kind of like saved in a sand shit mix jar or tub for a while. But it's this brand, Woodland Scenics, and like 2 different sizes of sand. I don't know. I don't think it really requires any, but it is like hobby sand from a hobby store, in like 2 different sizes to give it some variety, or 2 different like, yeah, size of pebble, I guess. And like I've used the same Tupperware for a while, so there's probably like a couple different brands mixed in here. I suppose it could have been a bit cheaper to find some, I don't know, playpen sand or something, but you know, I hang out at the hobby store a lot for the game nights or just to buy stuff, so that's where I just buy my basing materials. Yeah, pet shop. Yeah, you gotta have that good ratio of the grit variation. There's something else I was gonna say. What was it? Might have been about the sand. So yeah, doing the cavalry stands isn't too bad, but doing the infantry stands, it gets a little frustrating sometimes with the amount of dealing with the thinner edges. So you can see how it like pulls up from the edges. Yeah, you gotta like, I like to scrape along the edge here to like just tidy it up. And you gotta do it while the glue is dry, because if you miss some of it and you gotta do stragglers after it's already dried, it's really easy to accidentally like pull up a bunch of the material on the actual part of the base where you want it to stay. Oh, the next one I pulled was an infantry one. A movement tray for one model. Well, it's more like oh, oops, I forgot to clean up this edge. It's because with conquest models, there's two, or with the conquest, there's two games. There's conquest Last Argument of Kings, which is the rank and flank version. So the horse, if you're playing in Last Argument of Kings, it goes in the base, and then you rank things up in rectangles because it's a rank and flank game. But then you can also just play the skirmish game version where you just move things around individually on their circle bases, more like, you know, an Age of Sigmar type game. But it still very much has the conquest like vibe and rule set. So yeah, hopefully that kind of explains why it's a movement tray for one model. It's like, yeah, it's just because it's two different game systems. And also when it's like when you're ranking up a unit, and especially in like when you get multiple rows going on, when they're in the squares with the slot in it, you can, like if the minis are having troubles ranking up properly because their spears are poking out or whatever, you can rotate them in the stand to make sure they fit. Because some of the, you know, the stand size here, it's the same for every faction, but some of the factions have like a larger average model size than others and have a harder time ranking up. Yeah, it's usually more of a problem with the infantry, but it does happen with some of the like the brute cavalry sized bases, or like the monstrous infantry goes to as well. That's like those are referred to as brutes usually. Yeah, I guess if you aren't familiar with Conquest, I get how that can seem like a little weird. Yeah, these are like annoying to actually get the sand on. Gotta give the room a good sweep after this, because I'm probably going to get sand everywhere. Or I usually get sand everywhere. Yeah, I guess it's like a base adapter. Speaking of base adapters, I've been thinking about, it's like, I don't know if it's this weekend or that it's pre-order for Warhammer The Old World, but that's, you know, like a big thing that everyone's been talking about in my social medias and YouTube, because like the return of the Warhammer Fantasy, sort of, but you know, the jankiest return in the most Games Workshop way, where it's really expensive. As like the you know, there's the infamous Age of Sigmar launch, where a lot of people were mad about like having to rebase their fantasy armies to circles, and you know, some people did, some people didn't. They're like, no, I'll just like you play the other rank and flank games that you can use for your Warhammer models, or just like, I refuse to rebase, I hate Age of Sigmar. And then when they announced the Old World officially in was it 2020 perhaps, or 2019, I can't remember. Oops. See, you get a little piece of it chipped up there. That's what I was talking about. We're gonna have to add glue. Then the people who didn't rebase their minis were like, oh, it's a good thing I didn't rebase my minis, because see, they're bringing it back. That was finally worth the wait. But then, like, now that the game's out, we know that the base sizes have changed from original Fantasy, so it's like, nah, you gotta rebase anyways. But it seems like most people that I've seen online are just opting to go for the base adapter system, which is what I would do if I was to revamp my old Warhammer Empire army for the Old World. I don't have any plans to play it. I mean, it would be nice to have the book. I like a good quality hardcover tabletop gaming book. It's not in the budget right now. If someone like specifically asked me, they're like, I want to play a game of Warhammer The Old World with you, and like, we want to commit to a day to that, I would get my army ready for that and do some movement tray adapters, but I ain't gonna rebase my whole army. That ain't happening. Alright, 2 stands down. I can already tell it's gonna be a marathon. Yeah, that was the other thing about the Old World. They announced it like so long ago. It took a long time for it to actually get here. Yeah, Games Workshop, it's you know, they're the big leagues. They can kind of do whatever they want and deal with the consequences later. They were, you know, some of the first ones to the party, so it's what happens. It'd be nice if they credited their artists, but alas. I'm still a fan of lots of Warhammer stuff at the end of the day. I still, you know, had Warhammer World on my bucket list. You know, it's the same thing trying to, like, enjoy Dungeons and Dragons and Magic the Gathering when, you know, the people working hard on the projects are getting laid off by those corpo owners and shareholders. You know what they say, there's no ethical consumption under capitalism. Oh, this glue is pulling up a lot. I didn't even think I thinned it that much. Maybe I should only be doing half of these at a time. Or half of the base at a time. Yeah, I've been putting off doing these infantry bases for a while. I needed something like a casual Sunday stream to just power through it all, because it's... Maybe I just need a wider jar is what I need. I could get like a lid or something to just sprinkle the sand over to catch the excess. This stream was too impromptu to think that far ahead. You dumped out all your old 40k books? Aw. Did you dump them into a thrift store donation bin at least? Yeah, they got some pretty old janky Tomb Kings models in there. Yeah, 40k is pretty iconic. I think I do like fantasy more than 40k at the end of the day. But I've had some good times hanging out in the 40k universe through various books, games, and other media. I think you are becoming a grognard iron elemental. That was a very grognard thing you just said in the chat. You know, part of being in the hobby is just channeling your grognard energy every once in a while. Or every day, who knows. When you say, Cyberscorp, are you saying the old world is a nightmare? Grognards unite. Against what? People enjoying new games? Or new tabletop products? You would, you grognards. I have my grognard tendencies as well. I shouldn't talk too much shit. Okay, I'm gonna try and do this one a bit different and just do like patches of it at a time and see if that ends up being better. It might like, I'll get more sand coverage out of it, but it'll be slower. I guess we'll find out. Oh yeah, but doing it this way, it's like, I'm like brushing on excess sand. I guess that's not really a problem. It's all getting sand glued to it anyways. At least these bases are modeled with a texture already where you could just paint the plastic texture to look like some kind of basing. But going the extra step to glue the sand on, I don't know, I've been wargaming so long and this is just like the thing you do with miniatures, so when I don't do it, it feels like I'm missing something. Yeah, I think I'll go back to the old technique for the next stand. I mentioned the term grognar to one of my friends last year, and he wasn't familiar with the term, or he'd never heard it before, but he was like, oh, I think I know exactly what you mean by that term. It's like the word grognar in itself evokes a certain, it's like, oh yeah, I know what kind of gamer you're talking about. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's definitely, or like, yeah, Hasbro Wizards of the Coast is a nightmare. They're kind of like, they really need their new edition, or like the 2024 edition of D&D that's supposedly coming out. They really need that to do well for them, otherwise they're just in even more trouble. That's another, like, that in the old world, those are books that I like really want to have copies of because they'll be like nice books, and I'll be interested in playing them in theory, but I probably won't get them at release, mostly just because I don't have the means and like not in a super big rush to get at them or anything. Oh, thank you for the second super chat, Iron Elemental. Yeah, it's better to be in the positive mindset, no doubt. It takes a bit more energy, but it's worth it in the end. Thanks again for the super chat. You're making a pretty significant impact on my bottom line with that. Oh boy, another. Okay, I need a break from doing infantry stands. I need to do a cavalry stand. Yeah, I mean, were you following the OGL debacle at all last year, Country Fried Minis? And that's like a year on from that controversy, Wizards of the Coast, isn't it? Or like they've had a real ebb and flow of goodwill over the last year. Like they were kind of salvaging their reputations at a few points, but then yeah, they like laid off a bunch of people right before Christmas. It's a little awkward, you could say. Ah, yeah, so much faster. I don't know how many people watching are in the know-how with Conquest, but this last week they finally revealed their next faction, the Sorcerer Kings, which I've been eagerly awaiting. But I ended up making the decision that having my 100 Kingdoms and Spire armies is enough, and that I should not get a third faction as cool as some of those Sorcerer Kings minis are. There were some pretty cool Spires minis revealed in that recent announcement of theirs, though. And there are plenty of other models just in the range in general for the 2 armies I do have, so I'm pretty happy with the customizations I've done to my armies. Anyways, the main thing I still need to figure out is I need to find a suitable replacement for sewer water. What was it? Secret weapon sewer water wash. There are no metal minis with Conquest. There are some resin ones, like a decent amount of the character models and officer upgrades are resin, but other than that, everything's plastic on sprue. Or there are some resin monsters, but I've worked with a decent amount of the Parabellum resin stuff, and it's all been pretty nice for the most part. I've only had to deal with like one major like gap filling error, and like I worked with a pretty solid amount of privateer press resin back in the day. I haven't really worked with much fine cast, but I haven't resin can be pretty finicky, but I haven't really had that many problems with our Conquest resin. So their resin seems to be pretty good quality, nice and crisp sculpts, lots of good details. I think they really make use of their 38mm scale well in that sense. The more modern plastic models that Parabellum's releasing nowadays are very good, but some of their earlier generation models are a little janky. But like if you're like at all an experienced wargamer, it won't be anything like you haven't dealt with before. Oh, well, thank you for the $5 super chat, Country Fried Minis. The tip jar appreciates your coins. Yeah, I should, it's a bit too late for the stream to get some soda, but I should have some for the next one. Gotta check my calendar. See, I know Thursday I want to do a morning stream, so maybe that Wednesday I'll do an evening stream, and then Tuesday a morning stream. I suppose there's a chance I could do a stream tomorrow evening, but I won't know until the afternoon. Point is, the burp counter ain't going away. I just happen to have not had any burps this stream, which I know is a great shame, and I apologize for not blasting your ears with those tonight or this afternoon. You'll just have to come back next time and hope I bless you with some belches. Well, if you're looking for some 38mm scale fancy knights that you can feel the skirmish force of, you could definitely do that with playing the 100 Kingdoms in First Blood. Like the event I hosted back in December, I was like running the last Argument of Kings tournament, but there was a First Blood tournament going on at the same time, because I invited some other players to come and do that. Players that only play First Blood, and I think the guy who won that was playing an all-horse 100 Kingdoms skirmish force. If I recall correctly. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 4 just regular stands left. I'll probably... Well, we'll see how I'm feeling after I do those, whether I want to tackle the scenic bases, because those might need a bit of cork on them. I might do those off camera. Because I'm not entirely sure how I want to approach those ones yet. Alright, back to the more annoying infantry stand. Is anyone else hyped for Dune Part 2 Electric Boogaloo in like, I guess it's in like a month and a half or so? Roughly? 6 weeks perhaps? I'm pretty excited. It's coming out like right after my birthday. Denis Villeneuve bumped up the release specifically for my birthday, I bet. Oh, you haven't seen the first one? Well, if you like the 40K setting, you'll like Dune. Have you read the book? Dune's one of the few books that I've reread. I don't often reread books, but I reread Dune. Oh yeah, I can't do it. You have the opportunity to experience the first one for the first time and then immediately watch part 2, so that's pretty underrated actually. I can't really give a unbiased review of Dune because I was already a big fan of the book, and the movie is clearly made by a big fan of the book and is made for that audience. So like, yeah, it's not everyone's cup of tea. For the longest time, it was like regarded as an unadaptable story to a movie, but Denis Villeneuve managed to pull it off, I tell you. Well, Denis Villeneuve and everyone else working on that film. Originally, we would have it would have released in the fall, I think. Then the Writers Actors Guild strikes made it get pushed back. But I think because of that, they were able to like add some extra scenes or something, which is can't complain about that. Well, you never done like a 13-hour extended Lord of the Rings marathon before? Oh, nice. So you've like read deep into the Dune setting then. I haven't. I've only read the main trilogy. I'm surprised you haven't seen it yet then. But you know, everyone has their own varying levels of engagement in film. Yeah, the David Lynch Dune with Sting, that's like, it's a bit of a meme, but it's still like, I still have a Blu-ray of it, and proudly so. David Lynch definitely was a bit screwed over with the production of that one, though. Whoops. Speaking of David Lynch, watching Twin Peaks tonight. Yeah, worried that it would diverge too much from your mental image. That's fair. I had the added bonus of Timothy Chalamet looks uncannily like my younger brother. So seeing him in Dune is just extra entertaining. It's like the main reason I went and saw Wonka with my mom, which like was I did not like that movie at all. We're not like musical people, so we were kind of cringing a bit because it's like not the kind of movie we typically enjoy, but we enjoyed seeing it because you know my brother was in it. Yeah, I agree. Country or like David Lynch Dune, it's the first half of it is actually like aged okay, all things considered. Also, the Atreides have like the house family pugs, which is amazing, and the cast is pretty like hilariously good in a lot of ways. But yeah, then everything kind of falls apart in the second act, and like I as soon, when I was watching it the first time, as soon as they introduced the weirding devices instead of like using the weirding way in the book, I was like, oh boy, what's going on? Still lots of iconic moments from David Lynch Dune though. It's just like most of the good stuff is like front loaded. Yeah, I assume they did the weird. They changed it to the weirding devices because they wouldn't have to. Because like it wasn't in the scope or budget to like hire a martial arts instructor and like coordinate all this complex like made up science fiction martial arts stuff. That would have been a bit of a nightmare, I imagine. The sand is a little sparse on here, but I think I can just leave it. It'll be less noticeable when it's all painted, of course. All right. Hour 40. Well, I think I got 3 stands left, so I'm gonna glue those, and then that's where we'll end the stream for today. But that's probably gonna take a solid like 15-20 minutes still. Yeah, one of the stressful things I'll be doing off camera tomorrow is adding the second layer of more watered down white glue on top of this when it's dry to like secure it further. But sometimes like in doing that, if I'm not careful, I can pull up like a big sheet of like glued sand and have to redo part of it. So I'm using slightly more high quality PVA glue as opposed to just like Elmer's that you get from the craft section or whatever. That stuff is like works fine a lot of the time, but for when it came to gluing these stands, I did some of them using like just Elmer's glue, and it was definitely like even more tedious than it is now. And even if the paint job on your minis for your army is extremely mediocre and basic, if it's all done consistently and the minis are all on like adequately based matching bases, it can really look impressive. Yeah, the first reading experience with Dune is always like you got that classic problem with many sci-fi and fantasy where the first like 25% of reading the book you're constantly referring back to the glossary if there's a glossary at the back, or you know like a Wikipedia page to try and figure out like what's going on. Malazan, the Book of the Fallen's like that. I've only read the first one, Gardens of the Moon, though. That was a great book. Also reading Dune as a child, that's like, yeah, I can't remember when I definitely didn't even try and read it as a child. My dad was probably like, yeah, he's not gonna have the patience for that right now. Yeah, I definitely think if I was doing these off stream, I probably would have gotten distracted halfway through, or like not distracted, gotten like annoyed or bored with the process after halfway through, and then like get distracted by something. Having the stream accountability is good for the more tedious stuff that way. It's also helps when y'all are, actually active in the chat as you have been, so I appreciate that. When in doubt, Mod Podge. Yeah, I'll be using some Mod Podge for another thing that I haven't announced yet. I'll probably be doing that off camera later. Consistency is worth its weight in contrast medium. Yep, you can say that again. Okay, just one last little squirt of glue should do us. Hopefully that's enough. I don't think it's gonna be enough. Yeah, should have done an extra squirt. Alright, let's hope the glue cleanup process isn't too bad on this one. Yeah, it's about the same level of annoyance as the others. Yeah, we're gonna have to resand a couple areas. I imagine having the mix of different sizes of sands like is making this slightly more difficult. Or like the bigger chunks of sand makes it like would definitely contribute to my adhering issues. But it's worth the extra effort to have the variation in grit. Okay, I'm almost done the last one here. Maybe okay, I'll take a look at the scenic bases after this. Maybe I just need a quick stretch and then I got it in me to finish those on stream. Okay. Well, I'm gonna use this cutting mat as just a tray to store these on because I gotta leave them undisturbed for a while, lest I accidentally chip any of this hard work away. I can have a nice, satisfying array. Yeah, it won't take that long. I'll just do the scenic bases while I'm here. Just need to assess as to whether they need any cork or not. Yeah, it's not the best glue job on this one, but I'm just gonna leave it. It'll look fine when it's painted up. Okay, let's just put this off to the side. Oh, after standing up there, I really felt it. Hello, Viper Kid. Okay, we need proxy base and some putty. Sorry, I just bumped the mic pretty hard there. Please forgive me. Yes, now would be an awful time to sneeze. Alright, good night, Iron Elemental. Thanks again for the super chats. I appreciate it. See you next time. Alright, got our proxy bases here, because these are the ones that the warlords stand in the middle of, and they're, you know, just being, they're like cavalry bases being filled in. So, and I'm gonna have to put the magnetic bit on here eventually. So when I glued these rocks on earlier, you can see I kind of adhered to that already, but I think I need to put some cork on just to like finish off the border. Yeah, I think I'll just do that. Also, I think I need to grab the super glue. White glue ain't gonna cut it for all of it. Okay, so I need super glue and the hobby knife. Yeah, and I think because I filled the gap between the base here with white glue, but there's still a bit of a dip, so I think I'll do a line of super glue and quickly sprinkle in some sand as like a very fast gap fill. Anyways, I need that hobby knife and super glue. This is the part of the stream where you watch me get my hands all crusty with super glue. Hopefully not, though. Alright, let's grab us some cork. Your first live stream response. Glad I could do that for you. Or were you talking about? Okay, now I got it. Alright. Well, let's just work on this one first. You just need a little bit of cork up here and then a little bit down there. I don't want to overdo it with cork, because if you overdo it with cork, then it looks too much like cork. You know what I mean? You like that cork? Let me bring the camera a bit closer. Yeah, there's a fine line between too much cork and just enough. Okay, I don't want to accidentally get super glue on this proxy base though. But I know well enough where the edge of the circle is going to be. And this one kind of fits into the puzzle piece, or fits in like a puzzle piece. Here, let's break this up into two actually. Alright. Just put that little bit there. That one in there. Just make sure the... Okay, I'll just do it this way. Yeah, that looks like more than enough space. And let's just quickly super glue some of these scraps in here to just try and help hide the fact that it's cork. And you know, we'll be gluing sand on this afterwards, which will also help with that. Let's just do one more at the back here. Alright, so I think that's the extent of cork we'll have on this base. Oh, we could put a tiny little piece in there. That'll help in terms of, for when we're putting the magnet strip on there, actually. Oh yeah, I got a nice stick here I can use so I don't get as much super glue on my fingies. Alright, on to this one. More front loaded with the cork. Use a little bit in this nook. Alright, let's just try and use some larger chunks. And if you're wondering when the hobby knife is for, you'll see momentarily. Yeah, I mean, it does look like or it's like at the end of the day, a lot of the time you do recognize it as cork instantly, but you know, if you're a wargamer that's like, ah, yes, cork bases, love it. I want to do cork bases. If someone's like criticizing your minis for having like obvious cork on the base, then like what are they even doing there? It's like, get corked, bro. This is a cork friendly gaming space. Go cork yourself. Yes, Cyber Scorpio. I've heard of that hack as well. That's good for like if you're kit bashing plastic models and like the gluing or the joints you're gluing together don't have the best attachment points. I only need to break out that trick in the most dire of circumstances. Usually if like I'm having a hard time gluing super gluing something. Oh yeah, okay. Now my fingers getting a little crusty. Usually if I have a hard time with gluing something, I can fix the problem with just a bit of accelerant. But yeah, sometimes you need to bring out the big guns. No, you gotta stay in there. Nope, stay. Okay. Now I'm gonna use super glue along the rim or along this gap here, just to get a bit of a head start with the gap filling needed, and hopefully it doesn't look too weird, or hopefully it doesn't create the look of like a ring of sand or anything. Yeah, gonna have to give the hands a good scrubbing after this. Silly pun. Yeah, I'm pretty bad about the puns sometimes. Or good, depending on how you look at it. Sometimes the puns will make people groan, but like in a good way. I don't know if that kind of sounds weird now that I say it like that. Gotta make sure this glue doesn't get too crusty. Yeah, exactly. What's the difference? There is no good and bad, just pun. Okay, now before we do the white glue and the sand part, I'm gonna take the hobby knife and just attack the cork a bit to just make it a bit less corky. can't remember if I did this on the other scenic bases I made. The other scenic bases I used cork in a bit of a different way. On those, like I didn't have the cavalry base glued into it, so it was like fully recessed, so the cork was more to like build up a level texture that like extended out a bit more to fill in the hollow cavity. Whereas this is more like the cork is acting in a similar rocky role. Yeah, the desk mat's gonna need a good shaking after this live stream. Attacking the cork post-gluing. Yeah, when you describe it that way, it sounds very exciting. But I'm glad I could open your eyes to this homebrewed cork technique. I don't know, that's not that original. I'm sure other people have done this. Okay, I attacked it a little bit too hard on the edge there, but it's fine. Like, I glued these ones a little too uniform, so they need to be attacked a bit. Alright, we just broke 2 hours, and we're almost done. And now we're just gonna spooge the glue right on here. These ones I won't do the whole base at once, because it's gotta pay a bit more attention. So I'll do it in like sections. Because like when you're gluing around these white rocks, I find there's a lot of excess wiping I do to make it look the way I want. And especially like wiping off the tops of the cork here a little bit. It's good. Whoops. Yeah, I think I might need to fish my little paint dish out of here to keep using it. Oh, almost out of this good quality glue. I'm gonna have to ask my grandpa for some more. I do have a backup bottle of just like craft store glue. I think I got enough left to finish my spires after this. Maybe that'll be a stream midweek. Okay, I think this one's pretty close to done. Kind of got to rub off some of this stuff in the middle here. Got to make sure that's more smooth when it comes time to gluing the magnet bit on. But there's a scenic base done. My grandpa is an art professor, retired, so he's got all the high quality materials. I missed a spot there. I don't think he's holding out. It's just like I wasn't aware of this type of glue before, and he just gave me a bottle of it on a whim, and then it ended up being pretty useful for me. So I need to ask him for some more. But it would be funny if it was like a top secret like glue recipe. It's like, this is what the glue manufacturers don't want you to know. Gotta keep this secret. Oh, so close. I'm in the home stretch. So stream will probably be wrapping up in 5 or so minutes. So if you have any last minute super chats, questions, or anything, now's your chance. I am going to be having a more frequent and more casual approach to the live streams, I've decided, or at least that's what I'm going to try out for this first bit of 2024 here. So starting on Tuesday, I'm going to see how streaming every day goes, and just doing like a casual stream every day. You know, I'll probably give myself a break here and there. Don't worry about that. If I'm like absolutely exhausted, I won't force myself. And that's most of this is just because I got lots of model work to do, and there's less of it that's like requires meticulous capturing of B-roll for videos. It's a lot of it's more suited to just streaming. So I hope you join me for that. But you know, there's still videos, like regular old YouTube videos in the pipeline, but in general I'm trying to change up the format a bit for 2024. I have more concrete details to share with that later as I get my life sorted. Okay, I think that's done. Yeah, my soft time limit, or it's like, yeah, I think I mentioned earlier, it's like I want to do at least 90 minutes, and I won't beat myself up for ending at 90 minutes, but I'll shoot for like 2 hours on average per stream. Sorry if that noise was super grating, but here are our scenic bases. And that will conclude this basing stream. Just catching up on the chat there. Okay, let's put the lid on the sand so I don't accidentally knock it over. Okay, so tomorrow I think I'm too busy to do any streaming. If I do a stream tomorrow, it'll be another situation where I just like spontaneously announce one in the afternoon and go and go live like 10 minutes later. But for now, say starting Tuesday, I'll be trying daily streams. I'm gonna try and do like say the hypothetical schedule is, would it be Tuesday night or Tuesday morning? I guess yeah, stream Tuesday morning, and then stream Wednesday night and then Thursday morning. So that way I'm streaming every day, but there's still like a significant break in between streams. Because you do like a back-to-back one, like evening then morning, and then you don't do another one until the next day's evening, if that makes sense. Okay. On that note, I'll say goodbye. Thanks again for coming, everyone, and hope you have a good rest of your weekend.